The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Jess De Los Santos. The health department says forcing people to get vaccinated is ethically non-justifiable. But the DOH clarifies that there is nothing wrong with providing incentives to urge more people to get vaccinated. Now, to give us more details on this, Greg Gregorio is joining us live from Bulacan. Good morning, Greg. Before we get to that, of course, the past few days there's been confusion as to what the government's target really is. It started off with herd immunity, then came containment, and now population protection. Is herd immunity off the table now?
Just according to Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere, the herd immunity or the achievement of herd immunity remains to be the goal of the government when it comes to our vaccination program. But according to Vergere, herd immunity is our long-term goal and is affected by the global problem on supply of vaccines. That's what we focus now is the population protection. With this, they are targeting to lessen the number of infections, lessen the number of individuals going to hospitals, and also the number of deaths in the country. Jess?
So the question now is, how exactly do they plan to achieve population protection, and what are the target areas? If you have details on that.
Yes, just according to Undersecretary Vergere, they have identified areas with highly populous areas that will be focused in the achieving of population protection. This would be NCR and other 8 areas outside the Metro Manila. These are Metro Cebu, Metro Davao, Bulacan, Batangas, Cavite, Laguna, Pampanga, and Rizal. Vergere said they will be allocating more vaccines in these areas so that we can achieve protection on these population. Jess?
There's been more talk about the use of face shields. Is the government going to at least forego the use of face shields?
Just according to Undersecretary Vergere, the government cannot say just yet if they will forgo the use of face mask and face shield among our citizens, because on the use of face mask, Vergere said, if in the United States they have allowed they have forgo the use of face mask, here in the country we cannot do that yet because the number of vaccinated individuals in the Philippines is still not the same as the coverage in the United States, and they will be studying this matter and possibly implement in a certain bubble. But when it comes to the use of face shields, the Department of Health insisted that we have a local study here in the Philippines saying that we can have a 99% reduction of infection if you're going to use face shield along with other minimum public health standards and social distancing. Jess?
Okay, Greg, and then earlier today during the DOH briefing, you had there San Juan Mayor Francis Zamora. What were the salient points that he discussed?
Yes, just according to Mayor Francis Zamora, they have already exhausted the registered A1 to A3 population in the city. Now they are having an ongoing registration for the A4 or the individuals qualified as essential workers. According to Mayor Zamora, they will be opening another vaccination site in the city by next week. This will be the Green Hill Shopping Center. And they're also planning to introduce an incentive, a sort of incentive for those individuals who will have themselves vaccinated. Jess?
All right, thank you very much for those updates. Greg Gregorio reporting live from Bulacan. Metro Manila mayors have decided to relax restrictions on businesses and social gatherings amid a downtrend in COVID-19 cases in the region. In an interview with Radio 5, Metro Manila Council Chairman and Parañaque Mayor Edwin Olivares said they will recommend to increase the capacity in conference facilities, indoor dining, as well as religious activities. However, Olivares said this doesn't mean that the region is ready for a lower quarantine classification.
Sa napag-usapan po namin po doon, hindi pa rin po pwedeng mag-relax doon po sa ating pong ginagawang protocol. Kaya pong recommendation po ng Metro Manila Council po sa darating na June 1 sa IATF ay manatili pa rin po yung GCQ, yung ating quarantine status. Pero meron pong pagbubukas ng konti sa mga business para naman po makahinga po yung ating ekonomiya.
Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello said employers or foreign recruitment agencies must shoulder quarantine expenses of OFWs returning to countries where they work. Due to the pandemic, OFWs are required to quarantine upon their return to other countries. But on One News's agenda, Bello said this cost some Filipino workers at least 30,000 pesos. For him, there must be an institutional provision requiring employers to shoulder quarantine expenses of OFWs.
It will cost them not less than 30,000 pesos. Sinasabi sa akin na sasagutin daw ng employer. Sabi ko, saan yun? Where is that? Saan yung provision ng kanilang supposed to be institutional quarantine? Wala naman nakalagay doon. So pagdating ng ating mga OFW doon, i-quarantine sila. Sino magbabayad? It must be the employers or at the very least yung foreign recruitment agencies.
Many orphan children in India are at risk of being exploited after COVID-19 took the lives of their parents. Sarita Rai reports on Bloomberg Quick Take.
India's COVID pandemic, the second wave of it has been pretty devastating. Over 27 million Indians have been infected, and there have been at least 300,000 deaths that have been counted. And a lot of the people that have died have been blue-collar workers or daily wage laborers who necessarily don't have a fallback once they suffer a healthcare issue. So that means that a lot of these children have either been left to their own means, abandoned, or left orphaned because the parents have died. And the fear is that a lot of these children might then become vulnerable to child labor agents, child traffickers, people who are indulging in illegal adoption. There is a national child helpline that has been set up by the government, and a lot of people, social media users, have pointed others to that helpline saying, give the details over there and somebody from the government, from the child relief agencies will be in touch with you. But there is also the other side of the situation, which is that a lot of these shelter homes that could take these abandoned or orphan children are running over full at the moment. So child relief agencies, state governments are now sort of trying to figure out what else to do with the children. So there is a government effort, but it's really been patchy and scattered.
Over 700 delegates for the Southeast Asian Games and Tokyo Olympics are set to receive COVID-19 shots today. Let's get the latest on their inoculation from Ryan Ang, reporting live from the Manila Prince Hotel in Manila. Ryan, who are currently receiving the vaccine, and do we know what brand they'll be using?
Jester, vaccination are now ongoing for athletes, coaches, officials, and other members of the Philippine delegate bound for Tokyo Olympics in Japan and the SEA Games in Vietnam. More than 700 athletes will be having their first dose of Sinovac jabs today. Mayor Isko Moreno, POC President Congressman Bambol Tolentino, and Secretary Vince Dizon graced the occasion. Dizon said the IATF passed a resolution last week to give special accommodation to inoculate the athletes so that they will be protected from the virus as they compete in other countries. Congressman Tolentino, meanwhile, noted that this vaccination is timely as Vietnam announced a no vaccine, no participation policy for the 31st SEA Games that will take place in Hanoi from November 21 to December 2. Delegates will have their second dose also here in Manila after 28 days. For Moreno, it's an honor to host the inoculation of athletes. Registration for vaccination started as early as 8 a.m. and the like the inoculation at 9 a.m. One of the Olympic-bound athletes who got inoculated today is rower Chris Ñavares. He said that he is confident with the vaccine he received. However, not every athlete will receive the vaccine at this time. Gymnastics Association of the Philippine President Cynthia Carrion announced that gymnast Carlos Shulo will not receive his shot before the Olympics because it might affect his body and his training. Jester, the inoculation of athletes are still ongoing. Tolentino said that even if the athletes complete their vaccination, they should still be very careful to avoid transmission as they continue their training. Jester.
All right, thank you very much, Ryan Ang, reporting live from Manila. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 1 p.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Jess De Los Santos, mask on, wash hands, and stay safe. Philippines, we are One News.